I don't always wear fangs, but when I do, it's because I'm reading a spooky story! A spooky story! Hey YouTube, welcome back, and welcome to my channel if you've never clicked on this before. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing fangs, and as I just said, I am going to be reading to you this story that I actually wrote when I was probably like 9, 10, 11. Skip ahead for the last part, I was like 13 when I wrote the last section of it, I think. But since I figured that Halloween is right around the corner, I might as well tell you my terrible, horrible writing past. Welcome to my channel. I apologize that I haven't been uploading things recently, especially on my other Director's Cut channel. I said that I was going to try and do videos once every other week. That has not happened, and I honestly cannot promise that that will ever happen just because things are so hectic and crazy. And I have so many projects on the side that I'm working on, and that's actually something I'm going to bring up to you guys soon. There is a feature-length film that I got signed on to that's, well, not as like an actor, but as crew, at least for the moment. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing experience. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in another video because it deserves an entire video on its own, but basically the movie is going to be called The Brimstone Guild, and it was based off a short film by the same director and producers who went to Dartmouth. The film is a paranormal action-y type thing that actually deals with suicide prevention, so it's right up my alley. It helps people. It's an awesome script. When I read it, I actually cried a little bit. The people who are on it, everybody who I've met who's on the production team, in the crew, on the cast, they're all amazing. The story is beautiful and it really can help people. We're going to be doing some crowdfunding for it soon, so hopefully I can like kind of get you guys on that and get on board. Anything you can donate will help. $1, just spread the word. Anything you can do. Throw it around all your social medias. You know, just pick up the hype for it, basically, is what I'm saying. The short film actually went and won a couple of festivals, I believe. It's gotten some great commentary and feedback from people who are already in the film industry, such as the director of The Walking Dead, among, I think, at least one other person I know of, I forgot. Some adaptation of a Stephen King book. It's being used to help teach people about suicide prevention, and it's just really an amazing film. An amazing opportunity and a great cast and crew, and I really see this going far. But without further ado, my book. And I think it's just hilarious to go back and look at your old work, laugh at it, and see how much you've improved. But I wanted to share this with you because it's golden. I mean, not in the sense that it's the most beautiful, amazing thing, but I mean, obviously I thought it was, because on the front, I quote myself there. On the front, it basically says, "Who are we to judge good from bad when we don't even know if we're the bad?" And that was actually a quote from myself. I said, "Reborn" by Ashley Hayden. You're welcome, Internet. She was breathing hard. Each breath sent a scorching heat. I already screwed this up. The scorching heat through her throat. The soles of her feet were getting scratched from the rough forest terrain. Then she saw it. It was what she had been looking for. Her destiny was now chosen for her. She jerked behind a tree as she tried to control her breathing. This is already very tense. As it slowed, she looked back around the tree. There it was, just sitting there, waiting. Imagine this thing being like minding its own business in the middle of this wherever she is, and it's just like sitting there like, oh yes, it's a nice day, isn't it? We're having clouds in the sky. Well, that's nice. There's one puffy one. I like to think it looks like a unicorn. It's very, very nice. It's like, it's very glittery, you know? Yep. Yeah, the sky is blue. Did you know that? But it's not really blue, that's just the atmosphere and whatnot and what. Had it known that this was her fate? It was looking for something. She started to back away from the tree but tripped over an unearthed root. How convenient. That's not contrived at all in this storyline. Who are you to judge my writing? I am a genius. She fell and hit her knee on a sharp rock. That's important, kids. It's sharp. Don't fall on sharp rocks. If it's a normal rock, you're fine, but not a sharp one, alright? It started bleeding. She let out a silent groan of pain. At the same time she hit the ground, the very thing. You know, that's rude. Maybe it's not a thing, okay? Maybe it doesn't like that. Maybe it doesn't like being called a thing. That's just mean and not necessary. You need to calm down. The very thing she was trying to escape from turned around faster than humanly possible. She got up as fast as she could, because I couldn't think of another word other than fast to describe the velocity at which she stood or ran. She got up as fast as she could and was starting to back away. It smiled at her and started to slowly walk over. Hey! Hey, you see that unicorn cloud? Huh? Huh? Pretty neat, huh? I know you see it. Are you bleeding? Do you want a band-aid? No? Why are you scared? What's wrong? Do I have lettuce stuck in my teeth? My bad, you know, I just had lunch with Sharon. It was nice catching up. I have to pretend I'm a vegan around her. She thinks I'm a vegan. I don't know why. Maybe because I told her I was. Anyway, it's the lettuce, isn't it? Come back. Started walking slowly over, smiling creepily, being a creep in general. Okay. Closer, closer it came. Again, with the short sentences. Strolling along like someone in a market would. That seems specific. Eyes glowing in the strange way they do, enchanting everyone they look at. A trap. Tormenting her, trying to reel her in. She swayed in her attacker's direction. She couldn't help it. It grinned at her, showing all of its white and perfect teeth again, and she took another, maybe? Mini Ashley, another is the word you were looking for? Another step towards it. How could it be that what she had hunted all this time found her and hunted her? Everything went black and she felt her knees give out under her, but before she hit the ground, she felt a cool grasp grip her. That grin was the last image her soul would ever see, she knew. ... Or at least in that life it was. Page 3. Because my chapters are only a page and a sentence long. In 1698 in England, did I do research on 1698 to make sure that this was accurate to the 1698? I'm Englishing very well today. I didn't, I promise. I just kind of wrote, and I hoped that it was right. And I was like, yeah, that sounds right. 1698, yeah, sure. Yeah, put that down. This one's going in the books, guys. There was a girl named Felicia. This was before that meme. Her mother named her after a cat for the way she always got into sticky situations and always got out on 4 feet. Once, when she was only 3, she was walking in the forest with her mother. They knew that they were close to a place where a lot of people had gotten attacked by panthers. Where are you living? That's a common worry. In 1698, apparently panthers just ran amok and were like the dominant race on Earth. And it just wasn't safe to go anywhere. To the market, strolling down the street. No, you don't wanna... No. In the middle of the day, you might get attacked by a panther if you do that. I wouldn't do that. Got attacked by panthers, blah blah blah. But there hadn't been any in a while. I wonder if that was like in the local news, like, panthers have not been showing up for around 2 weeks now. I wonder if they're extinct. Oh god, they're not! They passed a small cave next to a clear running stream that looked as smooth as glass. Glass was not that smooth in 1698, but don't tell me that. I'm a genius. Mother, I think something is out there, whispered Felicia in a tiny voice. She's 3, and she's speaking like this. Nothing's out there that'll attack us with fella here, said her mother as she pointed back at where the big and fierce dog should have been. Should have been? Where is it? She looked over her shoulder to see that she wasn't there. Then she heard a loud and deep growl from up ahead. She snapped her head back just in time to see a panther jump at her daughter and roll them both off of a small hill. She heard her child scream a blood-curdling scream as she ran towards her daughter. She looked over the hill and saw her daughter crying, sitting next to a dead panther, and ran down to sit next to her. See, that is a couple of sentences long, but that should have been really, really long and drawn out and tense and like an amazing fight scene and all that stuff and like terrifying. Oh my god, my daughter's being mauled by a panther! But no, it was just 2 sentences. Whoop, there she goes, over the hill. See ya, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. I didn't mean to. I really didn't. Felicia sobbed into her mother's arm. Shh, shh, shh. I know. Her mother whimpered back. She covered the panther's carcass with leaves and dirt and washed her hands off in the freezing stream. Because that's what you do when your daughter kills a panther. You just calmly cover up the carcass with leaves and dirt, rather than comfort your daughter or like freak out and be like, oh god, my 3-year-old just murdered a panther. No, you cover it. Mini-me, I expect some answers. You better come forwards in time and tell me what the hell is going on here. So she calmly and realistically covered it with leaves and dirt and washed her hands off in the freezing stream. Then she picked up her wide-eyed daughter and carried her home. Her daughter, unlike the panther, didn't have a scratch. Well, now that she thought about it, neither did the panther. It only had one small bite mark on its left hip. At least it didn't suffer much, she thought. Okay, this panther just tried to murder your child, and you're like, hey, that's fine that you went off and you, like, killed her, and, like, you tried to kill my daughter. And I understand that. Hey, you're a panther. You do what you do. You do what you do. But I am glad you didn't suffer when she killed you. A couple days later, when Felicia's mother walked back to the spot, she saw Fella curled up, whimpering in the small cave. She had deep claw marks all over her. She carried her back and washed up her wounds. Yeah. Was she hurt by the panther or was she hurt by Felicia? These are the questions that we may never know the answers to. 3 days later. I sound like that SpongeBob voice. When Felicia was 5. Something similar happened, only this time worse. Getting straight to the point. I like you. I like the way you think, baby Ashley. Felicia's mother knew that this time she could not ignore the dream she had several times telling her daughter that she was not like the rest of them. On a chilly fall evening, a stampede of horses, so there's horses and panthers running amok in this world. Okay. On a chilly fall evening, a stampede of horses came running by their house, and they came out to watch them. They both adored horses. I feel like that's just like a thought, like, oh. And then I wrote it down, and it became part of the story. Mother, look at the horses! Felicia squealed with delight. A small shiny black horse ran by them so close, it made a small breeze rustle their clothes. Rustle, 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 rustle. Rustle, 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 rustle. Rustle, 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 rustle. Her mother shivered. Felicia was squirming in her mother's arms and finally broke free and ran right into the stampede. Felicia, her mother screamed at her and froze right in front of the horses. She would get trampled by the horses, but she knew her daughter would not. Her eyes were tearing up, and horses is a hard word to say with fangs. Horses. Close enough. And the horses started to disappear off into the distance, leaving behind a thick fog of dust in their place. The dust disappeared. She saw her daughter sitting next to the small horse's body. This time a fierce look of pure joy was locked on her face. Felicia licked her lips. Licked her lips. Yum. Look, Mother! Look what I did! I killed the horse. She cheered. Woo! She's like on a cheer team, cheer squad, just like H-O-R-S-E. Who did we kill? A horsey. Her mother fell onto her knees and started to shake with tears. After a while, Felicia came to her mother and put a small, delicate hand on her shoulder. Mom, she asked. Her mother looked up at her with red eyes and a tear-streaked face. I have to go. I don't want to hurt you, she stated. Her mother just looked down and lightly grasped her daughter's hand and nodded. It's okay. It's okay. I got you. I understand. Please don't murder me. Don't hit a tree on your way out. Oh my god. Felicia pulled her hand lightly away and started to slowly walk to the thicker part of the forest. Just before she was out of sight, she looked back at her mother, still on the ground. "You're going to get dirt on that dress, Mother," and disappeared into the trees. Page 6. I just wish Felita could act like all the other girls her age. She isn't normal and will get hurt. You're her father, talk to her. Oh, my bad, it's 1842. Look, she isn't going to get hurt. I hunt vampires all the time and it's impossible to find them anyways. I'm a manly man. You'll be drained of blood before they can even tell what's going on if you find one. Damon! Look, Aisa, how do you pronounce your name anyway, my wife, man, woman, person? All I'm saying is, she won't get hurt. Men all around town haven't killed one vampire yet, let alone find one. So everything you just said is a moot point. How do you know this if nobody's ever found one or killed one? How do you know that they even exist? Why are you even having this conversation? All attacks happen when people are asleep. The girl has more of a chance getting attacked in slumber. They heard a faint creak a little ways away. Felita, I know you're there. Oh, sorry, that was the father. Felita, I know you're there. Her father said as her mother looked down shyly at her feet for being overheard. Felita stepped out from behind the corner, breathtakingly beautiful as normal. She was looking down at a notch in the wooden floor. Felita had a perfect face that people would die for. Literally. You see what I did there? Punny. The only one that could even compete would be a vampire. She had long, straight, and shiny dark brown hair that was down past her shoulders, so like mid-back or something. Having all of these qualities were dangerous to anyone who didn't already know her because they would mistake her for a vampire. Again, you've never caught one, killed one, know how to find one, and yet you know what they look like. She also had paler skin than the moon itself. That's pretty darn pale. That's like me pale. Almost. But a little bit more. I mean, like, I reflect light and the moon reflects. So yeah, me pale. Wow, I'm the moon. The candlelight bounced off of her silk hair all the way down to the beautiful gold embroidery on the cream dress that her mother had made for her, because her mother is now a seamstress, and this is information that you should know. Yes, Damon? She whispered to her father. Why is she calling her father Damon? Do they not have a good relationship? Because I thought that was a badass name and I was so original for making some character in a story about vampires have the name Damon. Her father muttered, oh my god, I'm losing my ability to speech. Her father muttered something about he'll never be able to get used to how beautiful his daughter is as he sat down at the small weathered table. Can we say creepy? Felita glanced at him and back at her mother. Felita! Ah! Her mother sighed as she looked up from her feet. Do you like the dress I made you? I made it to show your soul's desires and your true self. On the nose dialogue. She added, even though she knew that her daughter already knew that, because that's how she always makes dresses. Yes, thank you, Felita said, even thought she was not the kind of girl who got on the perfect dress and went to a ball or waited for her prince to come rescue her in a tower. She didn't like waiting for her prince to come and fight a dragon while she waited there at the top and swooned. That was like 10 out of 10 swooning right there, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm not gonna brag, but pretty legit swooning. In fact, it was not a dragon she wanted to slay, it was vampires. Legend says that you need to be a vampire from birth. You will be born, but also will never be alive, in a way. The first life you take to stay alive is your own mother's. Well, it's a legend, but still, they're foul creatures. You don't like the dress? Her mother stated, looking at her daughter's distracted face. Felita looked up, shocked, at her mind babbled. No, I love it. It's just that vampire clan. I'm just too close to catching one of them not to think about it. Felita was the only one to get that close to actually finding and slaying a vampire. It was true that she loved the dress. More things were important now than dressing up to her. Really? Her mother exclaimed, smiling instantly. Yes, really, she said and smiled sweetly back, and then back at her, then added, I know you're the only one who can truly portray someone's soul in a dress. She told her mother. It was true, her mother was the best clothing maker ever. She even got an offer a while ago to make clothes for the queen and princess, but she declined. Who's this queen and princess? Where do they live? Her mother didn't like making clothes for people just to make them look good. No, that's not the point of clothing. Felita turned to look in the mirror and was smoothing down her dress, and her mother came up and traced the gold lettering in an ancient language on Felita's arm. It meant beautiful. Inside and out is what I should have added to that. I feel like that's a lot of text to put on like an arm embroidery. It means I'm beautiful inside and out, like, oh my god. Her mother stages Fleeta looked at what her mother was talking about in the mirror. Oh my god, I didn't notice that was there. There's like only like gold embroidery right here and here, but oh wow, I didn't see that. Thanks Mom for pointing that out. I would have never seen it. It's perfect just the way it is, Fleeta smiled and turned around to look at her mother. Then Fleeta looked down at the cream velvet and gold writing that spelled out her true self. She looked at the word vampire across her heart and frowned slightly. How could it be that the worst things are the most beautiful? She wondered. What if they aren't as bad as we think they are? She pondered. No, stop! You cannot think. You cannot like those vile creatures. Not in this lifetime. And not on the inside. Or on the outside. Especially if they're wearing a dress that says they're beautiful. Don't believe them. I need to sleep, Fleeta said, not able to stand any more of a normal interested thoughts, because that's interested thoughts about how vampires really are. Her mother just frowned a little, but she nodded and waved her away. Go, my child. As Fleeta was walking into the hall, her mother called, Don't forget to fold up that dress. You don't want it wrinkled. Fleeta paused just outside her door and walked in. She slipped out of her dress and pulled on a white nightgown her father got her for her birthday last year. She lay down on the bed and fell into more unexplained dreams. What unexplained dreams? They were never explained. Maybe that's why they're unexplainable. Page 10. Fleeta looked around at her surroundings. She was in a beautiful misty forest. She felt so relaxed that she sighed like a big weight. had been lifted, and she was now a feather. She started to spin around slowly a couple of times and giggled. She heard a noise a little ways away and looked over her shoulder. Lots of looking over the shoulder. Oh my gosh. She saw a stampede of horses crossing a very clear and blue stream. She started to walk towards the horses. As she got closer, all of the horses in the stampede were moving away from her, except for one. It was a small, shiny black horse. Sound familiar? I thought so. She was moving towards Fleeta. Fleeta started to coax it to come closer and noticed that unlike most horses, it didn't even pause to make sure she was safe or not. Come here, sweetie. That's it. Come on. She said in a gentle voice. She gasped at how she could now see the horse's eyes. They were glowing in a way that looked like. The horse's eyes were a very calming and inviting blue. Not just blue, but they also looked like they had silver, white, and sea green mixed in. Fleeta thought that she would ever have seen a soul of a person. This sentence is so butchered. Fleeta thought that if she would have ever seen a soul of a person, it would most likely be just like that. It was so beautiful, she took a step towards the horse. The horse stopped about a few inches from Fleeta and breathed out of her snout. I'm snorting on you, Fleeta. I like you. And breathed out of her snout that blew a warm welcome at Fleeta. Then the horse started to back away. Don't go, Fleeta said, surprising herself. It felt like she was saying goodbye to a friend that she knew she would never see again. The horse looked back, almost looking amused, and morphed into a black-as-night panther. Fleeta sucked in a big breath of air. She held very still as the panther came over to her and rubbed up against her. Fleeta closed her eyes, silently praying she would be okay, and wondered what was going on. I wonder what is going on. Then the panther's touch faded, and she opened her eyes a little bit later to see a person standing in her place. The horse, panther, and person all had the same eyes. This lady was the most beautiful person she had ever seen. Fleeta was awestruck. The lady had long, dark, blondish brown hair down to her waist and the most beautiful face a person would ever see. Fleeta wondered how it was possible for a person to be so beautiful. How? And then it hit her. Hard. Like a punch to the face or some bulldozer slamming into her. That's how hard that idea hit her. I'm drooling again. Fleeta knew this person was a vampire. It was proven to her even more when she smiled at Fleeta with the most perfect white teeth that anyone could ever imagine. Fleeta started to back away as fast as she could until her back was pressed up against a small cave and her feet were in a freezing stream. The vampire frowned and walked towards her. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to frighten you, sister. My name is Felicia, and I was born in the year 1698. Did I get that right? 1698, she was 3 years old. So she would have I can't even do math. Felita started to back away with a look of horror on her face. Oh God, you're an old woman. How could this be happening? She wasn't that thing's sister. What do you mean I'm your sister, you filthy bloodsucker? Felita hissed at Felicia. Felicia widened her eyes in shock. That wasn't the reaction she had expected. I can tell that this is confusing to you, as it is to me, but you are my sister, she started explaining. I was the first vampire to ever be born, and you are my sister. Just to make sure you understand, we are sisters. A descendant of my mother. Therefore, you are not actually my sister, but therefore, a descendant of my mother and, like, my cousin or something. What the hell would that make her? Felicia took a step towards Felita, but she took several steps back. I thought vampires killed their mothers when they were born, Felita stated. Or your mother was the first vampire, not you, she finished dryly. No, sister. Again, we are sisters, sister. She laughed. I never killed anyone. A look of guilt filled her eyes. Felita stared at her blankly. You drink blood. It would be impossible for you not to kill someone, Felita pointed out. Yes, that is true. I like to get what I need from animals or willing donors. I don't kill the humans. I don't know why I'm monotone, sister. Please, forgive my monotone voice, sister, who's not my sister. But you do kill the animals. How is that better? She said stiffly. She was very fond of animals. Felicia's eyes filled with guilt again. Talking with these frickin' fangs, man. Usually they are much smaller and they can't handle much. Huh. Felita scoffed. What? Felicia said as she tilted her head to the side. I am a dog, sister. We are also part dog. Isn't it wonderful, sister, who's not my sister? Come on, you're here to kill me, obviously, so just do it, she yelled, getting annoyed with the most unusual small talk in history. I told you before, I have not and will not kill any humans. Well, you're dangerous and you might hurt me on accident. Not true, but yes, some vampires are dangerous. I already knew that. Felita cut in. More dangerous than you know, Felicia said, giving Felita a very serious face. This is my serious face, sister. Felita stared at her, confused again. Vampires can turn into anything or anyone they have killed. They can disguise themselves as your best friend or your worst enemy. Even a tiny pest like a fly. But they keep the same strength. Like some kind of Ant-Man bullshit. Of course you're more a danger to them than they are to you, sister, who's not my sister. Felicia took a couple steps forward, and this time, Felita didn't back up. What do you mean? I'm a human. Right. Just the thought of her not being human made her wonder if she really was. Why would a vampire even indirectly tell her? But that was pretty direct. I mean, like, hey, you're more dangerous than we are, so, yeah. Even indirectly tell her that she could kill all vampires. I'm pretty sure she didn't say that. I think she just said that you're a danger to them. Jeez. Half-sister, like I said, you are my sister, and you were born half vampire. Oh, half, comma, sister. Grammar, kids. This is why you can track us so easily, even though you have not even caught a single one of us, sister. But that's okay, I believe you can do better, sister, not sister. Felicia explained. That doesn't make any sense, Felita said, shaking her head slowly. Wouldn't others from her family be vampires too? Ah, you believe me for once, she smiled. No, for some reason it only affected you. Her smile slowly formed into a confused frown. How did you know I was half a vampire? Did the fangs give it away? Felita asked. I have been looking over my family for ages, from afar, of course. It is sad to watch them live their lives the way they should when I'm stuck at the same age for all eternity. That's some dark, deep... Okay. A look of pure misery filled her face. Felita walked up to her and hugged her. She couldn't help herself. After all, why would this amazing creature lie to her? She went from hating vampires like, you filthy bloodsucker, to, oh, come, bring it in. Bring it in. I understand. I got you. It's okay. I know. I don't know the pain, but I know. Okay? Also, why would a vampire tell a human any of these things Felicia had told her? Any other vampire would have killed her. Now she realized she was half what she wanted to be. That's like a drastic 180 that you just did. She always knew that she had wanted to be a vampire, but she denied it to herself because the thought scared her. She felt Felicia slightly move from her hug and looked at her face. "Thank you for believing me, but you must wake up now," she whispered. "No, I have so many questions. Don't leave me." Felita felt like crying as everything, including Felicia's, started to waver and fade. This beautiful creature was her sister. "Don't worry, I shall visit you again soon, sister," who's not my sister, who is also part dog but half sister, half vampire. Sister, not sister. "Not only in dreams will you be able to see me. I promise," Felicia said as she completely faded from view. Magic. Felita looked around again and saw a faint light from the corners of her vision and close on her. Then everything went black.